Hey, how's everyone doing? In this video, we're going to go over polishing silver. And I'm just showing you guys the products I use. So we're going to start off with the polish paste, or the polish compound, I'm sorry. Here are the items, item numbers and whatnot if you want to get exactly what I have. So this is a pre-polish. This is a final polish. And it's important to have two polishes for soft metals like silver, because one's going to be more abrasive and one's going to be more relaxed. Now we're going to go to how do we get the compound onto something to polish. Well, you're going to either have a mop or a buff. These are what they look like new. So this is a cotton mop, and these are really good for your final polish because when you push onto the material, your mop doesn't become hard. You can make, this is a medium buff, meaning it's got a medium density to it. You can turn this into a hard buff, which is what this one is. And this, being a small diameter, since it's so worked in, works really good for the insides of rings if you have a small size you're trying to do. And beyond that, you have polishing paste. This is the only kind of paste I've used that works perfectly. That'll be, it's not abrasive and non-toxic. That'll be your absolute last polish, and I suggest doing it with one of these. We have polishing cloths. So these I like to give out to my clients when they buy something. There's quite a few kinds of them you can get. I don't like the blue ones. I feel that they're a little too abrasive on silver. The yellow ones, no problem. They will turn black once you use them. Just even a little bit, they'll turn black. I keep this one pretty on the outside for pictures, but I use the inside a little bit. These are also good, these small ones, for if you don't want to damage your work on your bench pin. You just cut one in half, and there you go. You got a little padded area. You can get these. The more you buy, the cheaper they are. I buy bags of them at a time from Rio. So these are fresh out of the pickle, some rings I need to polish up. I got one more to make. We'll hopefully get that done tonight. So we already went over actual polishing materials. Now we're going to go over sanding materials. I consider sanding over 1,000 grit. You're polishing at that point realistically, but we're going to keep it a separate category for now. So you're going to figure out first what kind of abrasive paper you want to use. I use silicone carbide 5,000 grit. This is a 2,000 grit, 1,200 grit, 600 grit. I don't find a necessity to go lower than 600. Even for my inlays, I don't really do hard materials, like materials that are harder than my file. This sandpaper is relatively cheap, this abrasive paper. It is silicone carbide, yes. So you're going to want a mask if you're using this stuff. Good luck getting one though, because of what's going on. These last a good while. I think they're better than 3M. Last longer, that's for sure. And then you're going to want something to put it on. Now, a lot of you guys have Dremels. That's fine. What you can do instead of buying sanding drums is you can tape these onto the rubber drum itself. Or you can buy these mandrels with slotted. I think they're called slotted mandrels. These have a 3/32 inch shank. And the reason for that is because the opening on here is 3/32. So these are really, really handy to have. So to start things off, I'll explain what I've already done to these rings prior to soldering the bezel on. I went ahead and sanded the areas closest to the bezel, and I sanded the edges because it's not necessarily possible to get there with this. So there's some prep work you need to do before you actually solder your ring together, but that's a different video. So with this silicone carbide, it doesn't matter if your piece is wet, it'll still cut just fine. And depending on if you have any scratches in it, that kind of depends on how fast you go. If you got deep gouges, the faster you go, the faster material is going to be removed. That can also create gouges itself. This is 600 grit right here. For time's sake, I'm just going to do half of the ring for now. I'll do the rest off camera. When it comes to this part right here, you want to be really careful that you're not putting deep scratches in, because it is so hard to get them out of this little area. Anywhere you sand and there's an edge, make sure you round the edge over after you're sanding it, after you're done sanding the flat part. You know, we'll go to the bezel. Be really careful that the edge of the paper isn't digging into your shank right here, because it will cause a void. So if you notice any fire stain, you're really going to want to get that out. And just so you know, this is not burning my finger. If you push on it, it will. I just have my finger resting here so it doesn't unravel. Alright, I don't see any deep gouges. I'm going to go down here one more time. Alright, now that's good for 600 grit. If you buy one of these Flexshafts, get a dual handpiece, because the other handpiece is a Jacob style chuck, and you need to take a tool and undo the collet. Paper is going to be kind of hard to control. Just the more you use these madrels, the more comfortable you get with them. Get up in the nooks really good. But again, mind you can see where the emery paper was scoring the bezel. The camera might not pick it up, but okay, you can go as high as you want with the grit here. Right now as is, I only go to 1200, but I'm starting to go to 2000. It just takes a little time off of polishing. Got a ring nice and sanded. I'll go over it again. I'm just making this quick for you guys. Make sure you keep your mops separated so you know what is pre and what is final and what is paste. You don't need much polish on your mop at all. Doing a polish like this halfway through will also reveal any fire stain that you can't see with the metal dirty like it is. So this is the pre-polish. I do have a little bit of fire stain to work out. And now we got to wash this pre-polish off before we go to the final polish. Just to make sure that we don't gum up our other mop with the different compound. Okay, so the polishes I used, they're water soluble. They come off pretty easy. We got a pretty good polish going. This final polish is what's really gonna get rid of those micro scratches. For this final polish, you can push hard if you want. Be careful you don't bend your metal. But you're going to want to go over it with your last stroke really lightly. Try going in different directions if you're noticing scratches. You don't ever want to hold your mop in one spot. You'll actually dig down below the surface. If you saw that, it's really easy for these rings to get flopped out of your hand. Make sure you got a really good grip on it. Okay guys, that's it. Now if you want to do a paste after this, not necessary without having an inlay, wash it again. You don't ever want to mix compounds. It's not good. If which I will do, go up to 2000 grit with this, it will get rid of all these really tiny micro scratches that you can only see when the light hits it the right way. Which clients, I've honestly never had a complaint. So the ring is going to get scratched from casual wear anyways. Nothing you can do about that. Hope you guys learned something from this video. God bless you. Have a great night.